morning, everyone. Welcome to a Monday morning here at the Call Sheet Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Smith, here at the Fans First Sports Network. It was an exciting week 8 in the NFL. A lot of blowouts, a lot of games in a year where NFL football has been very closely contested. The percentage of one-score games this year has been significant. Week 8 was blowout weekend. That's very interesting. But we're actually not really here to talk a whole lot of NFL today because today's a special show. Today on the Call Sheet, our 200th episode. I can't believe we've done 200 of these shows. Show that originated last January as the Call Sheet Daily. We did 5 a week. And now during the football season, we're doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, but 200 shows in the books. And as you know, on Monday mornings during the season, we do our Game Balls episode. And so we're going to award Game Balls to many of the guests and individuals responsible for helping us get to 200 episodes here at the Call Sheet. It's going to be a fun retrospective. And then all week long, I'm going to be replaying or reposting, I should say, some of the more popular episodes, ones that have gotten the most views and downloads, etc. So we'll get a chance, if you wish, to go back and listen to some of that stuff. I'm also going to be putting together a video montage, so to speak, that will run on our YouTube page and on my Twitter, my X at KTSmithFFSN. So going to be some cool stuff this week as we reflect a little bit on 200 episodes of the Call Sheet. So I'm going to start with some game balls. Let's give out some Call Sheet game balls just to some of the people who have helped make this show possible. Jeff Hartman, our editor, producer, kind of do everything Swiss Army knife here at the Fans First Sports Network. Brian Anthony Davis, with whom I've done, I don't even know how many, 6 years worth of Here We Go Steelers shows now over at the Steel Curtain Network. Of course, our CEO here, Ken Wisniewski, to whom I pitched the FFSN project a couple of years ago after Vox Media decided to unload its SB Nation podcast platform, and some of the people who were over at SB Nation, like Jeff and Bad and Dave Schofield, etc., we were all looking for a new home, and I brought this project to Ken, and he took it on. And here we are, man. So many thanks, obviously, to all those individuals. I've had a lot of regular guests. I've had a lot of guests who have shown up on the program multiple times. Let's give some game balls out to our regulars. Pez, at Pez's Picks, who's been on the show more than anyone. We debuted Pez on our Call Sheet program probably over a year ago when I was doing the original Call Sheet, which ran just on Wednesdays for the first year here at Fans First. Pez was one of the first guys to come on. He has since just taken off. Over 100,000 Instagram followers, has his own website, pezspicks.com, where you can get some of his prognostications. He's among the best in the business at it, doing a phenomenal job. Coach Frank Lasasso is now my regular guest on the Wednesday episode of the Call Sheet, where we're doing our Whiteboard Wednesday breakdowns, our X's and O's of the great game of football. Frank has been my partner in crime, so to speak, all season long. Paul Callahan, multiple appearances, doing something similar in the offseason. When the football season's over, Cal will be back to help us break down offensive football. Coach Steve Scanlon, same. Steve doing his own podcast now here on our CoachCast network. Coach Wayne Mazzoni, my college roommate, another major contributor here at Fans First, covering baseball, longtime head college baseball coach, Coach Maz, has phenomenal guests on his program. Coach Jimmy Haratopoulos, he's been around many times here to break down defensive football with me. I got lots of coaches who I can lean on for their expertise. And you know, the thing that I'm always amazed at, talking to all these guys, is everybody I just mentioned has been coaching for a very long time. There are no 20-something newbies in that group. And they all maintain a tremendous passion for generally the sport of football, Coach Maz, the sport of baseball, but for coaching in general. I mean, these are these are coaches. These are professionals. These are guys who didn't get in it because they wanted to coach their kid. They didn't get in it for the money, because if they did, they're not very smart. The percentage of coaches who make significant money, very, very few, right? Very, very small percentage. They got into it because they loved a particular sport. They wanted to continue to pursue it from a coaching standpoint, and they continue to find motivation and inspiration within that sport so that they can convey to their athletes, that they can pass on in conversation with fellow coaches, etc. I am constantly inspired by the passion of coaches, professional coaches, those who take their job seriously, those who get paid to do it. But it's not being paid that defines them. It's the fact you get to get paid to do it, because I'm sure many, if not all, of these guys would do it for free. And the fact that they get kicked a couple of dollars helps them buy some Christmas presents. But I mean, I think that's about as far as it goes. Anyway, the coaching profession, I think it's a fraternity, and I'm constantly awed by how willing other coaches are to share, to be a part of a community that is doing important work, and to which they are very, very dedicated. So thank you to all of those coaches. I've also had a lot of coaches at the local level here in Southern New Jersey visit with me. And many of them are having incredibly successful seasons. I've purposely backed away from trying to have these coaches on as guests during the season, because it is unbelievably time consuming, the preparations that you have to make to get a football team ready to go. It is a constant job, but particularly during the season. So I obviously not wanting to ask for people to give up their time. But some of these coaches who did visit with me in the offseason, starting with the man who took over for me at Ocean City High School when I stepped down last January, Sean Matthews, just guided Ocean City to its 9th consecutive playoff berth. We're very proud of the fact that Ocean City were the only public school in Southern New Jersey to qualify for the postseason 9 straight times. And Coach Matthews kept that streak going with an unbelievably exciting win over an excellent program, Cedar Creek High School. Their head coach, Jim Melody, excellent season for the Pirates. They went 7-2. Jim visited with me back in June. We talked about creating explosive plays. He certainly has an explosive team. They're going to be a highly ranked playoff team and a contender to win the Group 3 championship. So Coach Matthews, game ball to Coach Matthews for steering the Ocean City program to a playoff berth in his first year. To Coach Melody, Tyler Drob, head coach, Cherry Hill East High School, visited with me as part of a coach's roundtable to talk about the interview I gave with Kevin Stefanski, in which Coach Stefanski talked about the coaching profession as a year-round venture. Coach Drob was on to talk about it from the high school perspective. He just guided his Cherry Hill East program to its 2nd straight undefeated regular season. He is doing a tremendous job turning around a program that not that long ago lost 30 straight games. Unbelievable turnaround. Great job by Coach Keenan Wright. He was one of the first guests to come on to the call sheet here with me and talk about program building. Speaking of, we mentioned Tyler. Coach Wright has built a powerhouse at Atlantic City High School as well. They will enter the South Jersey Group 5 playoffs as the number 1 seed. Excellent season so far for Coach Wright. Coach Chuck Donahoe at Southern Regional. I mean, Coach, I think this is his 51st or 52nd year. I believe that's accurate. But he's over 50 years as a head coach, which is mind-boggling. And you want to talk, I was talking about having a passion for a thing. I mean, if you sit down with Coach D and you start to talk, you better get comfortable. You're going to be there a while, because this is a man who exudes passion. And in his 50-something year as a head coach, has guided his Southern Rams to an 8-1 record and a high seed in the Central Jersey Group 5 playoffs. I mean, an absolute legend, Coach Chuck Donohue. Garrett Lucas, head coach at Rancocas Valley, he visited with us earlier to talk about the screen game and sent me an awesome PowerPoint that had lots of excellent ideas about how to work your screen game in it. And he suffered a big loss. They lost one of the most talented football players here in the state of New Jersey, scholarship quarterback, to a lower body injury. He missed a big chunk of time. Coach Lucas, playing an unbelievably competitive schedule, managed to still guide his team to a playoff berth. Dennis Scuderi up there at Shawnee, they are a perennial playoff power. His show with me about the spread offense and the advantages of running a spread scheme is one of our more popular shows. Gets still people going back and listening to that show again and again. Game ball to Coach Lionel Bolin, who led Eastern High School to its best record in a decade as they go 6-3 and qualify for the playoffs. I mean, these are all guys who were willing to give their time to talk to me about various subjects, whose contributions to both this show, but of course to the local football scene in Southern New Jersey have been significant. But we also talked to some coaches who are coaching at higher levels. And I'll give you three names, three coaches who were with us who are all struggling through tough seasons. Kevin Stefanski, head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Browns are 2-6, obviously have a really, really difficult quarterback situation that they're trying to work their way through. Coach Matt Lombardi, longtime NFL coach, a guy who has been around some of the biggest names in the business, current quarterbacks coach at North Carolina for Bill Belichick. And the Tar Heels are struggling through the Belichick transition to college football as they kind of on the fly try to rebuild that roster and also acclimate to the college game. And then Phil Longo, head football coach at Sam Houston State. Sam Houston struggling in its transition to a full-time Division I schedule. They're playing heavyweights, not just teams in their own conference, but they've scheduled out-of-conference games against Texas and some other big powerhouses, and they're struggling as well. But the thing that's amazing is this. You look at the Browns under Coach Stefanski, you look at what's going on with North Carolina under Coach Belichick, Phil Longo out there at Sam Houston State, and you just simply look at the results and you're like, God, these guys stink. People say that stuff all the time. These guys are idiots. These guys don't know what they're doing. I can tell you, man, unequivocally, these are some of the best football coaches on the planet. These are people who have forgotten more football than I'll ever know. These are people who think so quickly. That's the thing that the big takeaway that I have had in my opportunities to sit with NFL coaches or high-level coaches like these and talk the game of football is how quickly they can process information, how quickly they can analyze the game or analyze the moment and not just come up with a plan for it, but also anticipate what their opponent's going to do and then come up with a plan for that within seconds. Oftentimes when talking to Coach Stefanski or talking to Paul Gunther, longtime DC, for the Cincinnati Bengals or talking to Coach Longo, I would find myself thinking about a concept that they were talking about while they had already moved two concepts beyond me. That the concept that I was still thinking about was sort of the base idea that they wanted to throw out there as a stepping stone to a broader idea that they wanted to get to. But I was still processing the base idea. I think that the ability of these high-level coaches, just like high-level athletes, to think quickly. Football is a thinking man's game. And their ability to think quickly separates them from many others because I think all good coaches have a firm understanding of scheme. We can all get on the whiteboard behind me and draw up some good stuff. But can we do that in the moment? Can we do that in our practice planning? Do we know when to call up the right play? Do we know what our opponent is going to do in a given situation so we can try to capitalize on that? I mean, that is what really separates the elite from the merely good. And it's something I've learned talking to individuals like Coach Stefanski, Matt Lombardi, Phil Longo, etc. So while they may be struggling with their respective teams, I mean, don't delude yourself into thinking that these are guys who don't know what they're doing. They're amongst, again, the best in the world at it. I had a couple of really interesting I won't say non-football guests, but individuals who contribute to the sport of football in different ways. Game balls to Leon Daniels, who is one of the best referees here in the state of New Jersey, and I see every week out there working the circuit. He gave us a great interview on the game from a referee's perspective, and I thought that was fascinating. And Mark Tribble, journalist here in Southern New Jersey, very, very popular, known as the Hat Man, because at the end of every game he covers, he gives out his hat. I don't know exactly what type of hat, Mark, that is. It is chapeau-esque, but his Hat Man award has become quite coveted by players in this area and has been won by an awful lot of prestigious players, including MVP candidate Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts. I think, though, the most fascinating interview, the one that I probably enjoyed the most of all the ones that I've done, was with former Las Vegas Raiders general manager and longtime NFL Network contributor Mike Mayock, who was unbelievably gracious with his time, but who gave us a peek into the world of football from so many different perspectives. I mean, Mike Mayock was a star player at Boston College, played in the NFL for the Steelers and the Giants, was then out of football for a long time, actually pursued commercial real estate when his career was over, got back in as a play-by-play announcer and an analyst, worked his way into the NFL Network job where he was for the better part of 2 decades, and then served as the general manager of the Raiders for several seasons. It's an unbelievable football journey. And he was so eloquent in being able to talk about it and give us everything he's learned from all these various roles that he's occupied within the world of football. That is an interview I will put back up later this week if you get a chance, man, and haven't heard the interview with Mike Mayock. That was fantastic. So again, thank you so much to all of these individuals, to all these contributors, those who have been here regularly. By the way, shout out to Dave Stefano. I don't want to leave Dave off the list because of all of the contributors here at Fans First. He's been on the show more than anyone else to talk about his beloved Minnesota Vikings. Big G, Sean Gurley, another regular guest here at Fans First, who has done the same to talk college football with me. And I greatly value Dave and Sean and the regulars here at Fans First who are grinding away to make this a great network. So 200 shows in the books. Can't wait to do 200 more. Going to have another slew of exciting guests on, but there's still plenty of football to talk about. So next Monday, we'll be back with our Monday morning game balls, our regular game balls segment. If I had to award some very, very quickly, here's 4 I would give out. Aaron Glenn and Mike McDaniel for getting off the mat. Both of those guys talked about as candidates to be fired. And both of those coaches earned huge wins for their teams. The Jets get their first win of the season. The Dolphins thump Atlanta with Mike McDaniel on hot seat watch. Congratulations to those guys. Congratulations to Justin Fields after being shamelessly called out by his owner publicly. I mean, look, what Woody Johnson said about Justin Fields isn't incorrect, but it's stupid and wrong. And it puts him in a terrible spot. And Justin Fields responded with a heck of a football game to rally the Jets to that win over the Bengals. And an unfortunate game ball is Cam Skattebo, who has been a revelation for the Giants and a jolt of energy to the NFL, a personality that is just magnetic and that I think people have immediately become fans of this young man who unfortunately dislocated his ankle, ugly looking injury against the Philadelphia Eagles, and will miss the rest of the season. I hope Cam Skattebo has a full recovery because his career is going to be worth watching. All right, that is our Monday morning Game Balls / 200th episode retrospective show. Appreciate you taking that walk down memory lane with me. Join me Wednesday. Coach LaSassa will be back for more X and O's of the great game of football. Until then, hope everybody has a great day. Take care.